but definitely want to touch on some transfer news. Beth, I feel like a broken record. This is probably the fourth time, I think, this week alone that I have asked you about this deal. But where are we with the whole Bradley Barcola to Liverpool saga?
Yeah, well, it is becoming a bit of a saga, really, isn't it? Because it has all gone a little bit quiet since obviously the news broke in midweek that Liverpool were preparing to make a bid. Beyond that, we've not really heard much else. You would imagine that maybe those conversations with PSG have happened by now, and maybe it is just about negotiating a fee. Again, I still think it will happen. I think there's a desire from the players' side, there's a desire from Liverpool's side, and it feels like PSG are sort of they're reinforcing their ranks anyway with some of the forward signings that they're linked with and they're bringing in. So it sort of feels like PSG are maybe trying to get all of their ducks in a row, and then they can say to Barcola, right, okay, we've got a strong enough forward line. We can give you the freedom to go. So I think it will go through, but I think hopefully it will be in the next couple of days because it has all been very quiet since midweek.
Don, you like that one, despite the fact that Beth has told us it's looking like 150 million.
Listen, I'm not spending the money. I'm all right. I'm not spending the money. I think PSG are playing a good game here because they're buying reinforcements and they're getting their ducks in a row. Then the dominoes will fall from there. Then you'd imagine, Barcola will make that move.
All right. Fans all around, except for Stevie Nicol, who, being Scottish like Don, is a bit more tight with his pennies, even if he's not spending them. All right. Final one now. Cody Gakpo to Spurs. Beth, just tell us how that all came about and could it actually happen?
Yeah, I think there is some substance to it. I think Tottenham are interested in him. There's been a little bit of noise about that for a little while. I think from Liverpool's perspective, it's a risk because the squad is so thin right now. They've lost so much experience, obviously, with Mo Salah, Konate, Andy Robertson. So to lose another member of a title-winning squad is in the same summer when they've already got so much to do. I think it's a little bit risky. If I were Liverpool, I would probably say, we'll keep him around for another season. And then, maybe we can review next summer or even in January if it looks like Hugo Ekitike is making his way back. But I think Liverpool, without Gakpo going, if you include Barcola, they need a minimum of 2 forwards, maybe even 3. I think if Gakpo goes, then they definitely need 3. And I don't think that they will get 3 in before the end of the window to the standard that they need. I think for Tottenham, it'd be probably quite a smart move. Gakpo is maybe not the most exciting player, but he does get you goals and he knows the league. He's a Premier League winner. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on. I think it maybe will come down to whether Liverpool think there's other players out there in the market that they can get in to replace him. He's probably one of the few players that they'd be willing to sell that could generate a fair amount of money. One to keep an eye on. But I think if I were Liverpool, I'd be keeping him around for another season.
Yeah, Don, because I feel like, as Beth said, he may not necessarily his style set the world alight, but he's that kind of player that whether he starts or comes off of the bench, as we even saw with the Netherlands, he can have an impact, especially when Liverpool needed it the most. So should Liverpool even be entertaining this at least this season?
No, unless the figure's really high. I think what I read the other day, I think was close to 72 million, which is a lot of money, but Liverpool are losing players for fun. Mm-hmm. I mean, Luis Diaz, they should never got rid of, in a heartbeat. It was Cody Gakpo or Luis Diaz, and why they went down the route of selling Luis Diaz, I will never know. I will never understand that one. All right, there's reasons why what Liverpool said because he commanded a higher transfer fee. I get that, but they're immeasurable in terms of how both players play. So they can't afford to lose another one in Gakpo, and they say to Ingamoa, right, you're going to be the guy that's going to play every single game off the back of our Max Downman chap being a youngster. Mm-hmm. You're going to be the guy that's going to play every single game in the domestic games, the Premier League games and Champions League games, and you're going to churn out 55 games for us. It's more or less impossible. So Liverpool have got to stop losing players, and I'd like to see Richard Hughes and the hierarchy at Liverpool actually spending some money now and actually getting bodies in. They need depth badly.
Don, they spent so much money last season, remember?
I know, but it didn't. But they lost a lot of players. I still say the job that the hierarchy done, leaving on a slot a weakened squad. I think they need to come into question. Mm. When you look at the side that Liverpool when they won the title, and Beth can help me, I'm probably missing a few, but Kelleher in goal. Then you've got Joe Gomez. Then you've got Conor Bradley at right back. All these were on the bench, by the way. Endo. You had Darwin Nunez. You had Jota coming off the bench. You had Curtis Jones then coming off the bench as well. All these players, and the majority of them were gone. But last season, it was like, right, can you bring Chiesa on for 15 minutes? Can you bring Ingamora on for 15 minutes? Can some guys, including Curtis Jones, play out of position and play at right back? The squad is thin. So I've got no idea when you're looking. I'd love to be a privy of the conversation, the hierarchy, why they've allowed so many players to leave the door and then expect the players that were left just play to, when you look at, when you look at Virgil van Dijk last year, I put him in my team of the year, and it was only just a little bit of fun. It was a Premier League team of the year, and it was a little bit of fun. And the reason why I put him in, because this guy played every single minute of the Champions League, every single minute of the Premier League. Virgil van Dijk was playing twice a week for close to 55, 60 games, and he never missed a game. So he can't be expected again to do that again for Liverpool. So, as I said, they need bodies in badly.
Beth, just a quick reaction to what Don's saying.
Yeah, spot on, 100%. I think, Arsenal's greatest strength is that strength in depth. I think Liverpool are so thin, the squad. I think they need probably another 4 or 5 to be anywhere near sort of the title this season. And again, time is running out. They've obviously brought in Victor Munoz. They brought in Jeremy Jacquet in January, but he's off the back of an injury. Giovanni Leone, who they bought last summer, is off the back of an injury. So it's not just that they've not got many numbers; it's that actually a lot of these players are coming off injuries or seasons, like Don said, where Virgil. Virgil's 35 now. Do you know what I mean? He should be at the point of his career where, he's still an important part of the team. He's still the captain, but he can be rested when he needs it. And they've just not had that option for the past couple of years. And at this moment in time, it doesn't look like they're going to have that option this season as well.
Beth Kwanzaa was a name that I forgot to mention that was sat on the bench as well. I'm surprised Liverpool haven't had the buyback clause and tried to get him back.
Yeah, so they do have a buyback clause with Kwanzaa, but that isn't active until next summer. So maybe that is something that, if he has a good season with Leverkusen, it's something that they can maybe go back and revisit. And then maybe, you're at a point, obviously Van Dijk's out of contract next summer. So maybe that's something that you do then. But yeah, it does feel like they need bodies pretty quickly.